Here we go. We're just getting to the river here. One of the great things about fall time living here up north is these small little rivers. The water's cooling down. The smallies got to get out of the riffles up way up north, coming back down to these deep stretches, and they're starting to school up in big groups to winter. Definitely a sweet thing for the Midwest, for this northern area of the states, that you get to enjoy this when the smallies start to congregate in certain little areas. And that's what we're going to do today. The water temp's in the high to middle 40s, and we were out here a couple weeks ago and we caught a whole ton of fish, but there's some little ones. I'm hearing that the big ones are starting to move downriver, and so that's what we're doing. We're here just in a deeper spot of the river and should be good. We've caught some pretty good ones. There's usually no giants out here, but you can go and catch quite a few. So one of the cool things, you know, it's unfortunate that you have winter time and you can't fish for them all year, but you got to take advantage of these kind of times in the fall time when they school up like this. So just a bunch of fish coming down river in front of the dam. We'll show you how to catch all these smallies, which is a blast, next. Not starting with anything crazy, just throwing a crankbait right away to see if there's any up shallow. Drop shot, river staples. We're going to use a finesse worm out on some of the rocks, but we'll just show you kind of what I do. The water temperature is pretty cold. This one's a pretty deep stretch, fishing a lot of rocks mainly, so hopefully we can get on some for you. Good one. Jeez, fish is cold. I was wrong before. The water temp's actually 41 out here. Saw that one on the live scope, drop down to it. It's a start, but man, that was a pretty sad bite. I'm just out here on the end of a rock point right here. Not seeing too many fish up shallow. Water must be a little too cold, so we moved out deeper. Hopefully more to come. There we go. So a little guy. Again, just out here on a little rock point, pretty deep. You're in 23 feet of water, just a real wintering area. Nothing too crazy, just throwing the drop shot. That one didn't feel like much, it just was holding on to it. Pretty crazy water temperature slows them down. Check this out, that fish had that sweet, almost looks like a sickleback, maybe a little perch in it, maybe a little walleye. Never even noticed it till now. So at this point of the video, we're obviously a while after I shot this, which was in the fall, and it was very early as fall. You can tell here, I just wanted to go over some things. What I do for river fishing. This particular river is deeper, a little less current related than they would be, say, Mississippi River or like a smaller river in the fall, where they're way more related to the current, where they try to get behind things. Fish is more like a lake, like if you're on Lake Pepin or somewhere else to that nature where they would be sitting, and so they still function a lot more like lake on this particular stretch of things. They're still fairly warm. I just want to show you a couple things which I would do, that I'm doing in this video. So this, I would say, this would be middle of fall, not quite winter time yet. At this point the water is not that warm yet, so I wasn't really in a search mood, but when I first started out fall looking for smallmouth, you ought to start with fast moving bait, say a crankbait like this, that's a square bill. Depending on how deep your water is, you want to make sure that you have something to correlate with how deep it is. And then also, like, I would go with a rattle trap. Somebody might go a spinnerbait or something like that. This time of the year, like, this river, it was pretty tough. Get to this time where I would say it's like middle-ish fall, and I'm using a drop shot, and up next I'm going to show you me fishing along the bank, and this is where I use a whole ton. Would just be using a shaky head. You gotta vary that head size depending on the current speed, because you just want it to barely be going along, especially where it's more current dependent. You want to make sure that that is just going down river slightly, and you kind of just hold your line, let it go like that. But here's the last of the time. I'll be back with what I do for late fall. There we go. There's a good one. Whoa. Not good, but alright one. We just moved up to the bank here, actually. Stayed away from the deep stuff. I missed a couple there. Just a little bit of rock sitting there. And I got one. Nothing too crazy, just moved to that shaky head. Well, it took a little bit, not a big one, but it's a smallie. Little guy. So, late fall / winter. Still using a shaky head. By then you gotta find the deepest holes around. Fish are trying to winter, they're trying to get away from the current. Maybe like in a Mississippi River where there's wing dams and stuff, that'd be behind like the last wing dams, depending on current. Very current related. Mississippi River obviously has wing dams, way different than this river and a bunch of other like natural rivers where there is no wing dams. They have to find the place of least amount of current. Outside turns has some depth, but they're trying to get out of the current. And when I do that for when it's really, really cold, would be like jig and wrap, drop shot, that shaky head, little finesse jig, and then a blade bait. Just go on up and down really slow to try to get them to react to that. That's like a last case scenario, especially if you don't use live bait or anything. You gotta go with something, or else like a suspending jerk bait. But they're feeding a lot less that time of year. You can see in this video that they were not biting very well. You basically had to sit there and hold it in front of them. They were just not right. There wasn't a whole lot of current, so they weren't tucked behind anything, and they're just a little bit different. So this is just a deep stretch. You always want to find the deepest stretch, especially real shallow rivers. They'll get out of those riffles and they'll go long way downstream, upstream to find the deepest water. And a lot of times the deepest water is very downstream, very upstream are the two deepest ones, and that's why they run that way, because they're trying to get out of the current. They do not want to be there. They got to make it through a winter, and just like us in Minnesota, North Country, you want to get out. You don't want to go outside. You don't want to go do too much. You want to make sure you get out. So that's what I do. But it definitely depends on your river. Rivers are so fascinating because the fish change all the time. But that's what I do. Hope it helps. Good luck. Thanks for watching.